Hi, folks. Welcome back to Never on the Backfoot. I know this is a little early, and both Shajin and I are looking very chirpy for this conversation, but I think the match was like that. No, last night, UP Warriors registering their first ever win this season. So, in today's WPL morning show, we will look at how UP Warriors produced such a composed, clinical win to outplay the champion unit that Mumbai Indians are. I mean, they opted to field first, restricted Mumbai to 161, and then eventually came down to chasing it. In this discussion, we will discuss all about how they orchestrated that run chase. But first things first, Shazan, let's get your thoughts on the game at large, right? I think in our previous discussion, we spoke about how Mumbai probably had the edge. UP was, uh, slightly on the not that much side of momentum because they had lost those matches. But another unit turned up last night, no?
Yeah, hi Neha, hello viewers. Oh, it was proper cinema, you can say, redemption arc for Harleen and the camera panning to Abhishek Nair and UPW registering their first win of the season. And that makes the tournament interesting. So all the narratives were there, and Mumbai Indians finally looked like the unit that can be beaten. So it was all proper cinema, you could say.
Yeah, sum that up pretty well because I don't know, the match just had so many interesting plot lines that we will obviously discuss through the course of our discussion. But again, let's just have a look at the team combinations, the playing 11s itself, right? One of the biggest surprise or shocker for Mumbai was the fact that Haley Matthews wasn't playing, and it sort of upset their team combination. We had different openers once again. For UP too, right? It was pretty much a playing 11 on expected lines. But again, your thoughts on how that sort of played out for both teams?
Yeah, so Mumbai wanted to play Haley, but during the warm-ups, Haman got her knee twisted, so it was clear that she couldn't bowl. So they had to make those changes. As Lisa Keithley said, they wanted more seam bowling options, so that's why Kerry continued, and they had to go with Aman and Kamalini as the opener. So that was a forced change, but still, Mumbai are having problems with the openers. So they will have to decide that. As far as UP are concerned, they just still stuck with that same 11, even though they lost. So I was expecting maybe they will go back to Dorton, but they didn't do that. So in the end, that was the changes. That was the only change Mumbai made. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, just talking about that change, we had new openers, right, in the form of G. Kamalini and Amanjot Kaur there. And when you look at the power play score itself, right, they were just looking like they were playing very conservative cricket itself. This was probably a very steady start, the lowest power play score this season overall, too. Like, what really happened there? If you just had to give us a dissection of how that power play sort of played out, it's not like UP was bowling supreme, but then Mumbai is just, playing safe, keeping their cards close to their chest, right?
Yeah, as we discussed earlier, Mumbai Indians are having a power play problem. In all the four matches, they have been the worst performing power play team. You can say that, and they had different combos for each match. Meli opened in the first two games. Then Kamalini has been struggling, and now they have Aman. Aman again a proper batter, not sort of a power hitter that or something that Haley can provide, but they had to do that. And even Lisa Catley admitted that they have issues in the power play, and that's something they are looking at. They want to go harder at the start of the innings. But I think also Kranti Gaud bowled really well at the start. Although Shikha went for a few runs, Kranti Gaud bowled really well for those 3 overs she bowled from her end, and UPW had that upper hand in the power play.
Yeah, that's true because I think at the 7 over mark, they were what, 42 for no loss. But when you look at the innings progression, by the 13th over, they were what, 78 for three, right? Now, again, how decisive do you think that middle over slowdown was? Because, I mean, eventually they did end up getting 160 thanks to Nat Sciver-Brunt and Nicola Carey. We'll talk about their contributions later. But that middle over slowdown, again, a point of concern and something they would sort of want to rethink. But you can't put the entire onus of scoring on just the openers, right? You have the rest of the batting unit who probably need to step up a lot more.
Yeah, it again didn't look like a proper flatty, the normal DY Patil track you would expect. There was something for the spinners, and seamers also got help. But the problem with Mumbai is that this is their template. They start slow and they end with heavy score at the back end of the innings. But the thing was that Harman got out early, and then Nat also started slowly. After that, slow down from the openers. So that was something they had to keep in mind. But once NSB got going, they were eventually back on track. But that slowdown at the start really cost them. maybe they could have been looking at something like 180, and they eventually ended up at only 160.
Yeah, because any total, I think, above like 170, 180 would have been game defining in that sense, right? UP probably would have struggled a little more. But I think, again, the chief architect for MI to get to a competitive total was Nat Sciver-Brunt, right? A supreme knock, 65 coming of just 43 balls, undoubtedly, has to be the standout for Mumbai. Again, the kind of partnership that she struck with Nicola Carey when they were in a tricky position really helped them, right?
Yes, again, NSP is almost always valuable, but the thing with her value increases on these kind of tracks where you can't be hitting a lot of sixes, and NSP is a boundary hitter more than a six hitter, so she has been finding all those gaps in the on the leg side, and she hit almost all the boundaries on the leg side. Only one boundary went to the offside, exactly the opposite of Harleen. We will discuss that later, but this is where NSB's value increases because she doesn't need sixes to keep that higher strike rate going. And once she got that start, she all started very slow, but eventually when she started hitting, they were scoring a 15, 20 runs and over, 15 to 18 runs and over at the back end of the innings. And at one period, they had like last 5 overs, I think they scored 75 runs. And that's where they really came back with that NSP knock. And NSP was dissecting the gaps beautifully, how she manipulated the field, how she moved around the crease and used that to hit on the left side. So that was really amazing to see.
Yeah, seeing NSB in full flow is definitely a pleasing sight. I mean, seeing her play for the Hobart Hurricanes in the WPBL had a very quiet season in that regard. Although it was a title run for them, to see her again, back amongst the runs is great signs. Even I think for England as they look ahead to the T20 World Cup. And talking about another underrated, performance, it's impossible, right, not to talk about Nicola Carey. I think 20 balls scoring those unbeaten 32 runs. It obviously added a lot of impetus, right, to Mumbai and the late flush that they were sort of looking at. It ensured that they got to like at least 161. And again, if you had to put like her knock into perspective, how would you look at it?
Yeah, as we discussed earlier, Nicola Carey, things always seems to be falling into place for Nicola Carey. Someone is getting injured or someone has to start instead of someone, then they will have to play these 4 overs. And because of the combo, again, Nicola Carey started and she really bowled well as well, but that will be later. So for the batting purpose, once Harman got out, Harman has been scoring a lot of runs for Mumbai, and NSP and Harman has been the ones who scored all those runs for Mumbai. So again, Curry really impressed, and she gave that momentum in the back end of those innings, where the stretch of the 4 overs they scored around 59 runs. So that was something that's amazing to see. And yes, Nicola Carey again giving a problem for Mumbai, and that's what do they do now that they want Hayley Matthews to come back and open in the batting in the power play so that they can have a strong power play. Then who will finish the game instead of Nicola Carey? That's a problem of plenty, but something that Mumbai will have to ponder.
Yeah, it's definitely something they will have to reconsider. But at least in the context of this match, her knock and that partnership with Nat Sciver-Brunt, ensure they got 161 on board. But looking at it from a UP Warriors bowling perspective, right? Like, how important do you think were the contributions of Sophie, Ecclestone, and Shikha Pandey, right? Both of them had quite the miserly spells, picking up wickets. Deepti Sharma also chipping in there. But overall, if you just had to shed light on UP and a much improved bowling performance, so to say.
Certainly. So at the start of the innings, Randigaud really bowled well in that 4 over spell, and then at the back end, when they were going for on Shikha Pandey and Sophie Ecclestone came back really well as well. I don't know it was easy, but a lot of full toss also. Sophie bowled that no ball as well. So other than that, she was bowling really with a lot of control, and they restricted that despite NSB and Nicola Carey going strong. And Deepti Sharma as well. Deepti Sharma had last her death over was, again, we have been talking about Deepti Sharma's death over bowling prowess. This is something that team should be doing. India and UP Warriors should be mindful of the fact that she has been going for a lot of runs in the death overs. But before that, she has bowled really well.
Yeah, a commendable bowling performance at last with certain central figures, sort of leading the charge. But the task was now cut out, right? UP Warriors had to chase 162 of 20 overs. You could see that quiet sense of confidence probably among the unit because they had put in a good bowling performance. Now it was down to the batting unit to take care of things. And yeah, once again, UP, stuck to the plot, had Meg Lanning and Kiran Navgire open. Again, when you look at their power play too, right? They raced to what 42 for no loss there. But how significant was that fluent start? Taking off the pressure because the middle order obviously was still a little sketchy. But getting that opening partnership up and running was crucial.
Yeah, but it didn't look that fluent. It was almost scratchy with Nicola Carey bowling really well, and Kiran looked out of sorts against her. And although her landing had a few shots going through the offside, she also struggled a little bit. And Samskriti Gupta also dropped her, but still they had that better power play than Mumbai Indians, having scored 42 of the first 6 overs without losing any wickets. So that was the sort of start they needed in that 160 run chase, but still they have some worry about the opening spot, especially Kiran Navgiri.
Yes, actually going to get to that point itself, right? Because Kiran Navgire's torrid run continues. She's coming off of a great domestic season, has shown us, glimpses of promise in the past season as well. But somewhere, if you had to make a dissection of what is clearly not working out well for her, RS struggles against the short ball. She's just not able to pick the ball as well as you'd ideally want her to. And just going ahead, do you think UP Warriors will continue to persist with her or just explore other options perhaps?
I think UP Warriors will back her. UP Warriors have been talking about backing her, but these are non-issues as far as Kiran Navgiri is concerned. She had troubles against the moving ball and as well as the bouncers, short ball, so to speak. But again, it looked like she was out of sorts against the moving ball at the start of the innings, and then she wanted to hit out again, like the in the game against Delhi Capitals. She got out in a similar way. Either she's too late on the shot or too early on the shot and skied it and got out against NSB. The ball that was really pitched short and it was a slow ball as well, I think. So Kiran Navgire will have a lot of works to do before the next game again, going back against Mumbai Indians tomorrow. So we will have to see how she turns up. But again, I think they will back her. But I don't know how good she is going to be, and maybe, in my opinion, maybe they should consider other options. But I think they will stick with her.
Yeah, I think time will tell, if they will sort of continue to persist with her or bring in reinforcements, right? Because they still have other options in that squad who can, fill in the role of the opener with Meg Lanning. But even after losing, right, Meg Lanning and Kiran Navgiri in the quick succession, we spoke about the kind of balanced start they had. UP never really looked rattled, right? Because you still had the likes of Phoebe Litchfield and Harleen Deol who were in such good touch. I mean, Phoebe Litchfield's knock, again, might not really stand out as much, but was again, playing second fiddle to what Harleen Deol is doing. We will get to Harleen's knock in a bit, but just talking about that middle partnership, right? How would you sort of assess it?
Yeah, the whole talking point at the start of the chase was how they will play Meliker and how they will turn up after the power play. So that was something we had to see. So Harleen and Phoebe really played that well, and that first over of Meliker was the turning point. I thought because they got that momentum, and Harleen started with three boundaries, three back-to-back boundaries, two against Meli, and in the same over Phoebe also got one, and so then they never looked back. Then they were getting those easy boundaries to the offside, and Mumbai Indians provided them a lot of width as well. So almost all the boundaries of Harleen came through the offside, except for one. So Mumbai Indians have been giving her a lot of bit, but credit to her, she kept it simple despite the fact that there has been question marks about her strike rate, and she didn't look like she wanted to hit out of the way. She just kept everything simple, and that's the thing with batters like her, traditional batters who have been taught that you have to preserve your wickets rather than go all out. So this is something a learning sort of a learning curve for her, and she didn't keep that retired out in her mind, and she also answered the questions really well. And maybe it's still a work in progress. Maybe she will have days again where she will be scoring at a run ball, but this is something sort of a progress. And as Abhishek Nair spoke in the press conference, it's about getting a player from A to B and then getting them from B to C. So the progress is there, and it's nice to see. And also, Abhishek Nair spoke about how much of a team player Harleen Deol is. Even after when she was retired out, she came back to the dugout and said, "It's a tough wicket, sir. We can win this." So that's something for even for India. She has been sitting out for a long time in the T20 setup. She got that occasional opportunities against the one against Sri Lanka, and she failed. But failing is fine. But she has been trying to improve. Even in that one knock against England, in England she scored 40 out of 20 balls. So this is something she can do, but she still will have to stick to her guns and play the way she can.
Yeah, I think as the optimistic Indian fans, we will sort of hope that this form carries on for the Indian team as well. But again, just coming briefly back to that partnership, right, between Phoebe Litchfield and herself, it was a 73-run partnership, which I thought was the defining phase of the chase. But again, just spotlighting Harleen's knock, although you did speak about it briefly, I think it's fair enough to say, right, it was a very fluent and calculated knock. Every single time she struck a boundary, we could see, right, the camera was panning to Abhishek Nair. I think on comms, they were continuously talking about the retired out decision of the previous night, how, she's risen, like, rising of the ashes from the phoenix, and like all of those references coming in there. But like, how impressed were you with just her ability, right? Because we have known her to sort of bide her time at the wicket, rotate strike as much. But now she just went all guns blazing with absolutely nothing to lose, reaching her 50 of just 32 balls. Impressive stuff there. And hopefully, she could be in contention for India's squad as the T20 World Cup sort of looms, or is it too much of a stretch right away?
Yeah, it's too much of a stress as of now, but it was really risk-free batting. That's what caught the eye of everyone. Although Mumbai Indians provided with, she wasn't like I am going to loft over the offside. She has been happy to just play on the back foot or front foot through the, and she's always has been strong on that side from third to cover, extra cover. She has always been strong, but Mumbai Indians provided her a lot of bit, but and she made full use of that, and it was a very controlled innings, and she controlled the chase right from the start, and she had a control percent of around 88%. So that's always great to see. She wasn't losing her shape or something, and she wasn't trying to hit the ball out of the park. So it's something, a template she can follow, but I don't know if it always provide this sort of reward, but it is something she can follow and improve as a player and as a batter.
Yeah, I mean, she can take a lot of confidence, right, from this knock, and hopefully challenges like this, sort of bring out the best in her, because there's a lot riding in this match, right? You can see the pressure. She's a World Cup winner at the end of the day. A lot of people forget that, and the kind of slander that she unnecessarily received was unfortunate. And another player who sort of helped, UP chase this total down has to be Chloe Tryon, right? A former Mumbai Indians player, warmed the bench for the better part of all the seasons. She was a part of their setup against her former team. Steps up with an unbeaten 27 of just 11 balls, sealing the match. Right again, how valuable do you think was her finishing role? Because she's coming in place of Deandra Doughton, which was again a big gamble UP was taken. With UP has taken, and it sort of worked out well, right? With a performance like this.
Yeah, all narratives were in play. What would have happened had Chloe Tryon struck the 27 of 11 the last night instead of this match? So that was also in play, but that was a tricky phase because Phoebe Litchfield started really well, but then she slowed down, and she always had that struggle against Melika, and eventually got out to her for the eighth time in T20. So then that was a tricky period, but Harleen still stayed intact, and Chloe had that breezy knock of 27.
Yeah, absolutely. And even just looking at the nature of the run chase itself, UP finished the run chase in what, 18.1 overs, a slight boost to their net run rate. Although they continue to occupy the last position in that table, it's still a win, and they would, sort of expect that, it augurs well for the rest of the season as well. But when you look at it from a Mumbai Indians perspective, right, the bowling side of things, they were just able to pick 3 wickets, right, in those 18 odd overs. Somewhere, did you feel the lack of penetration from their bowling attack cost them more than the total itself? And again, probably a rethink there with the bowling attack side of things.
I don't know what they can do. Maybe they can expect Haley Matthews to come back. And in the first few matches, Shabnam Ismail picked up at least 1 wicket in the first spell. She couldn't do that last night, and that's something they will have to see if. Or also, they can think of bringing us one more seamer, maybe Kranti Reddy in place of Triveni versus Triveni has been sitting only bowled occasional overs here and there. So is that something they want to explore, or maybe they can even think of Poonam Kemnar has been playing just like a specialist fielder, so maybe they can think of bringing someone in for her. I don't know what else they can do. I mean, they will be hoping that Haman will be fit to bowl tomorrow, and that's something. If Haman is fit to bowl, then maybe they can bring in Haley Matthews back. And but again, then what will they do? Will they swap Nicola Carey or Shabnam Ismail? Again, that's something of a worry. And but the biggest worry, I think, Mumbai Indians is their power play batting. That's something they will have to address. And for that, I think the best option is Haley Matthews. Is that that should be something. And again, Mumbai will be playing their fifth match tomorrow, and if they lose, then they will be on a similar position as UP Warriors. With UP Warriors will be also in 5 wins and 2 wins out of 5 matches. That really opens up the points table as well. But that's some sort of a worry for Mumbai Indians, despite looking strong in other aspects. And that power play batting and slow going has eventually cost them a match.
Yeah, because I think a deeper introspection of just the bowling side of things. I mean, Nat Sciver-Brunt was brought in early in that attack. She struck twice, removed both the openers. Do you think Mumbai should have used her probably for a longer spell to, break that Harleen Deol Litchfield partnership? And even looking at Amelia Kerr, right? She was quite expensive in her 4 overs quota. Again, it reflects a lot on how UP was trying to be aggressive with their batting. But again, just a little more mindfulness from Mumbai with these bowlers could have helped.
Yeah, again, talking of Mumbai Indians bowling, Melika looked a little bit out of sorts yesterday. Very unlike her. Her first over was a little bit too full to Harleen Deol, and then gave it to Phoebe Litchfield as well. So she didn't look the part in the first few overs. Although she came back to pick that wicket of Phoebe Litchfield, that was too little, too late. Maybe we can say, since Clive Tryon eventually finished the game. But again, talking of NSB has been an interesting bowler over the years. She looks innocuous at times, but still struck with those 2 wickets in that over, and that gave them back the momentum. But Harleen Deol and Phoebe Litchfield had other ideas and immediately put the pressure back on Mumbai Indians. But again, Mumbai Indians lack. I would say their Indian bowlers lack a little bit of penetration. Maybe they will have to see. The problem with Mumbai Indians again is that they haven't been able to play Haley Matthews a lot of games, and the only game she played, she was expensive in the power play again. So the who will be the other power play bowler for them if they don't play Shabnam Ismail? That's something they have to. Maybe they should start with Nicola Carey and Haley Matthews if they want to do that way in the power play. And Melika is not a power play bowler; she will always be coming after the power play only. So maybe they can think of that way of controlling the game with Haley Matthews and Nicola Carey in the power play, and middle overs with Aman NSB and Melika.
Yeah, fair points there, and hopefully Mumbai does take cognizance, right, of a performance like this. Because again, funnily enough, in tomorrow's match, they will be squaring off and locking horns once again with UP. So a lot of learnings and takeaways from this game can probably help them there. But even Shajin, just looking ahead, right, like what does this win say about UP Warriors? Right, the kind of balance and belief they have. They have Indian players who are hopefully finding form and getting there almost. And in pressure chases, you have someone like Harleen stepping up. Does it open the table a little more up, because UP now, like, probably are not title contenders, but at least can upset a few teams here and there?
Yes, of course. The table has been opened up, and tomorrow, if they can register another win against Mumbai Indians, that will really open up the table, and Mumbai Indians will also have four points, UP Warriors as well. So that's something that will be interesting to see again. But the problem with UP Warriors has been that their batting hasn't really clicked as a whole. Kiran Navgire hasn't come to the party. Meglani had one good knock, and Phoebe looked good in parts, but they haven't gone on to hit those big scores. And maybe Chloe Tryon's finishing touches will give them more confidence, and they will have to see what other Indian batters can contribute other than Harleen Deol as well. So Harleen Deol's form is something really heartening to see for them, but again, I think their batting still have issues, especially with Kiran Navgire at the top. So I am expecting Mumbai Indians again. I am expecting Mumbai Indians to come back stronger tomorrow and register that win.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're too good of a unit to, have a performance like this sort of define them, and renewing your rivalry with a team that sort of, showed you the door, I think is a great opportunity for them to register those 2 points. But yeah, Shajin, do you have any last and final thoughts? Almost as we wrap up our discussion, we are looking at a double header, like set of matches for Saturday. Tonight itself, we have Gujarat take on RCB. We will be discussing that, of course, in our tomorrow's discussion. But anything you're looking forward to as we close up to the weekend?
Yeah, first and foremost, the talking point of Harleen's Redemption Act has been the talking point through the last 2 days. So that was something really nice to see. But I don't think I won't be too hard on Abhishek Nair for retiring her out. Although, and she was like, it happened, and we don't have to stretch the talk to any further. And so that helped her. You can't say that an immediate impact of retiring her out. It was another game. Even Chloe Tryon had that success in that last night's game. So that was something nice to see. But again, going forward, there are a lot of matches in the next 2 games with RCB, GG, DC, and Mumbai Indians and UP Warriorz. Again, all the 5 teams playing the next 3 games. So it will throw a lot of things in the points table, and it will be interesting to see if Gujarat Giants and RCB stay at the top of the table. So today's clash itself, it will be very interesting to see if RCB can still remain at the top of the table, and or Gujarat Giants can. The issue with Gujarat Giants, again, the problem with has been their bowling. So maybe RCB's power-packed opening duo can take on them, and the middle order also can help. And we haven't seen RCB's middle order ever since that first game, so that will be interesting to see as well. So I am expecting RCB to come good again and stay at the top of the table, but Gujarat Giants can make use of their batting, and hopefully from a better bowling performance will keep them at the top of the table. So that will be something interesting to see. And tomorrow again, DC with only one win, and UP Warriorz coming close on their heels. It will be interesting to see tomorrow as well. So lots to discuss and lots to watch over the weekend.
Absolutely. All in all, we are in for a set of blockbuster matches, which also means the end of the DY Patil leg, the Mumbai leg, and they'll eventually have a break day, and then Monday onwards it will be the Vadodara leg. But yeah, Shachin, on that note, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. It was really fun discussing this match, and to all the viewers who are catching up with this stream later, make sure to comment as to what you thought about the match and what you are further looking forward to. But yeah, folks, until next time, stay safe, take care. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you, Neha.